I want to talk about manifestation, euphoria, the role of euphoria in manifestation, and why, or what's the real reason why there's such a war on narcotics and on substances that create uh, euphoria in the brain. It's just past 40, 50 years, the government has went full force against all substances that cause any type of euphoria, that alleviates anxiety, any substance that allows the mind to calm itself, to put itself in a condition of manifestation that's ready for manifestation. In other words, you have to be completely relaxed, your thoughts have to be positive, and euphoria takes care of that. And why in 1972 they had the Scheduled Drug Act. And of course, a lot of people say, oh, it's racism. And some people say, well, it's because drugs were infiltrating the white community. It was a knee jerk reaction to forced segregation, that if they created these drug laws, they can then use the drug laws to keep blacks out of white areas, and all of this may have truth to it. And then, of course, later on, they learned how to make money, or they actually legislated it, drug prohibition laws, to where it becomes a money grab by law enforcement agencies, where they can asset forfeiture, and then they started getting federal grant money for making drug arrests. So later on, and of course the private prison industry, so later on they figure out a way to make money off of it. But the real reason why the government created these laws, and it is no surprise, this was in the early 1970s. This was right after there was this movement of human consciousness, the awareness of human consciousness. There was a lot of young people in this country who started experimenting with LSD, and they started reading about human consciousness. And a lot of this stuff, it became kind of sort of not mainstream, but it left the small egregores and went out into the general public, so to speak. And there's a reason why they wanted to stop this before it started. They did not want a group or a bunch of Americans to take substances that relax them and create positive thoughts and euphoria, because they did not want the people to manifest a different reality for themselves than what the people who are trying to control them were doing. So, in other words, they have to, in order for a small group of people to control a larger group of people, they have to disturb their thoughts. Because if this larger group of people all have a small amount of euphoria that they are experiencing, and they are relaxed and they have positive thoughts, and if they start putting their mind on positive things start happening. And the I mean the most positive thing that the American people can probably experience is to take control back. We the people are supposed to be in control of the United States, but if they keep us hurting, they keep us miserable, they keep us a little sick, a little bit in pain, they can prevent us from using our minds, from manifesting a better reality for ourselves. And we're seeing this all across the board. We're seeing how opiates are being altered and changed to where they cause no euphoria at all. The older opiates that cause euphoria are, in fact, being pushed out of market. And then they got these new substances like buprenorphine, and they changed methadone and these other opiates like gabapentin that they this is which is a seizure medicine. It causes no euphoria, and you're even starting to see this push for cannabis. Now, they made it a Schedule 3 narcotic. They dropped it from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 for one sole purpose, so they can legally do research, so they can say, the THC is bad for you, and we're going to put the THC back on Schedule 1 status, and we're going to take the rest of the plant and leave it at Schedule 3, and we're just going to create a new wave of pain relievers that aren't really effective. But more importantly, they don't cause euphoria, and it doesn't completely take people out of pain, and their attitudes kind of don't improve because of this. So it's very important if you want to control a large group of people. If you believe there's a small group of people controlling a larger group of people, you better believe that they are using these type of methods to do so. So they do not want people experiencing euphoria on a daily basis for a prolonged period of time, because that will ultimately change reality. Currently in the Deep South, there's a prescription amphetamine epidemic. I mean, an epidemic. Everyone is using prescription amphetamines. It's mostly the working class white folks. And even the amphetamines have changed. I've heard people say this. I myself was never an amphetamine user, but I hear that some of these amphetamine prescription medications have been altered over the years. The amphetamine salts have been altered, and they altered to where they just cause a little anxiety. They don't truly make people comfortable. It makes people quite paranoid, and that's the reason why they are spoon feeding these type of drugs to young white Americans, and they are disrupting the opiates. People can manifest on opiates. They can manifest. They can manifest a better life for themselves if they are in a prolonged, uninterrupted, undisturbed pattern of euphoria in the brain. With these new prescription amphetamines, it's impossible to achieve that. They're always a little nervous, a little edgy, and that's the current state of mind, kind of confused. They want people to be in that state of mind. They do not want people to be relaxed, in a relaxed state of mind where they're in very positive, and then they start taking a look at the reality around them, like I did years ago, and said, this world's really screwed up, and it is up to us to change this. And the way to change it is metaphysically. Quick recap, beginning in the early 1970s, you started seeing a lot of substance abuse laws, or I should say drug prohibition, started taking front and center stage. Prior to 1972, anyone could walk into a pharmacy and obtain codeine, liquid codeine, without a prescription. This was a real thing. And they did not want Americans to be relaxed. They wanted them either in a stupor, like a Quaalude type stupor, a Babitril type stupor, benzodiazepine type stupor, or they want them kind of wired, nervous, confused on amphetamines. They do not want opiates. They do not want euphoria causing drugs in the American public. Because again, if your brain is relaxed, is in a positive state of mind for a prolonged period of time, it will start manifesting your thoughts into reality. And they do not want that. They do not want that at all. It's something that's very rarely discussed. William Burroughs discussed it, but you're taking two complicated issues. You're taking the issue of manifestation through brain activity and combining it with drug prohibition laws, and just not too many people are thinking on that level. So you must understand, alcohol kills 90,000 people a year. Cigarettes were killing almost 500,000 people a year until people stopped smoking. Nothing was done about this because alcohol is really bad for the brain. Alcohol will prevent you from manifesting your thoughts into reality. And nicotine has no effect on it at all. Okay, so it doesn't improve it at all. So that's why those two substances, which kill more people than narcotics, were really left alone and unmolested over the years, and the opiates were really attacked, and amphetamines aren't attacked. Amphetamines are freely prescribed. They freely prescribed here in Louisiana. Anybody, and I mean anyone, can get a prescription for amphetamines right now in Louisiana. However, with pain medication, with opiates, you cannot. And like I said, people say, "Oh, it's because of the money." Well, that didn't come in until later, when they figured out how to make money off of drug prohibition. And then, of course, you got the people stuck on racism, which they may have used that reason uh, because they tried to say, it was kind of like among the inter-white circles, especially in the deep south. They were like, hey, we're going to pass these new drug prohibition laws and we're going to use it to cripple the black power movement. Now, that excuse may have been made, that may have played, that may have been a tool to get public support, but the real reason why narcotics, well, I should say opiates, why they wanted to stop people from having a prolonged period of euphoria and relaxation is because they were afraid that the people would figure out that this is how you manifest your reality, that you use your brain to manifest reality. And if a group of people get together in a relaxed, prolonged, euphoric state of mind, they will start thinking about positive changes and bettering the world. And that will involve changing government. And they do not want to do that. So it is a very deep thought there. But now you're getting some of this information now. But it's always been there. And I'm not the first person to talk about this. Like I said, William Burroughs wrote about it. There were other people who were writing about manifestation for years and years, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. When the Zohar was written, it emphasized on manifestation and changing your reality through your thoughts. And if you can control people's thoughts, you can somewhat, through proxy, control their reality. So, again, this is probably the main reason behind the Scheduled Drug Act of 1972. And it was really designed to cut out to make codeine a substance that was only obtainable through a prescription. Because prior to the Scheduled Drug Act of 1972, all you had to do was walk into a pharmacy and ask for paregoric or liquid codeine cough syrup, and it was provided to you. And you seen what happened in the late 60s. People were experimenting with these things and they wanted to change the world. We called them hippies. The government tried to demonize these hippies, and they wanted to do away with that movement because they did not want this next generation to start taking a substance that made them think more positive. And in return, those people decided to improve the world with this new idea. So, quick thoughts for now.